Hello everyone, welcome back. What we're doing today is trying to inspect these plows to see what parts I need for them. What we've got here is a set of Ford 101. You can see right here it says 101, serial number, whatever. 14-inch turning plows. Now, we're going to do several videos on these plows, not only maintaining them, hooking them up, adjusting them, and using them. So you're going to see quite a bit on these plows. These are 14-inch. Now, there's a lot of confusion about they're also spring trip protected. So if you hit something solid with one of your feet, it'll trip back, you back up and reset it. So these are spring trip. They made a solid beam and a shear bolt protected that had a bolt in it that would pop. Parts are no longer available for these spring trip, so if you're looking for a used set, it's best to find shear bolts, because a lot of times on these what happened was that people would have them adjusted so loose that they would trip too easily and it wore them out, and you can't, the parts are obsolete for them. So unless you buy a couple of sets, you know, for parts. But anyhow, back on subject here. 14-inch plows. A lot of people think that's the length of the plow or whatever. What it is the distance between here and here, or here and there. You're cutting a 14-inch. Each one of these plows or plow bottoms is cutting 14-inch. So that's what these are. They're 14-inch spring trip Ford 101 bottom or turning plows. I pulled several different brands of plows. For my purposes, I like these. They pull good. They're easily pulled. They do a good job plowing. They clean out good. They got good throat clearance. And I do have the coulters for them. The coulters with both here, here, and here that would cut sod ground. And I may have to use them in the new ground that we looked at the other day. But we're going to lay these things over on their side, like so. And we're going to talk about the wearable components on these plows. Alright, this big piece right here that turns the sod is the Moldboard, hence the name of the plow. Okay, now, down here, this piece right here, which is a cutting edge, is a shin. That's what that component right there is. That's a wearable part. That's a wearable part. And this is your plow share or plow point. Okay, that's on the front side. On the back side, and you can see this piece right here, and it bolts through from the other side. This is your landslide, and you can see it's pretty worn. Okay. The plow points shares are in pretty good shape. That slide is worn out. That slide is worn out, and the one back there, which is a long one, looks fine. So, that's the components of the plow. Moldboard, plow share point, shin, landslide, and we'll flip it back up here in just a minute. But you can see here's the trip mechanism for these plows. This is safety trip that turns it loose. But that's the points we're looking at. You can see this Moldboard right here, how it's getting thin. I hope you can see it compared to this one. I replaced this one a couple years ago. These have been on there a long time, and they'll wear right here. Here's where they'll thin up. Yep. But as far as cost, I know the last moldboard I bought was about 75 bucks. Let me see if I can set this thing back up one-handed. Nope. Hang on. Okay, now I got it set back up. And you can see right here is your landslide. Alright, the other components of the plow. This is commonly referred to as the bottom, or the frog. Some people call that the frog. Some people call this piece the frog. But, of course, this is your beams. This is your 3-point hitch. But we're going to talk quite a bit about moldboard plowing, the do's, the don'ts, the whole bit. And one reason we're going to is it's an area that needs some education. I was talking to a couple of growers the other day. They're putting a piece of ground in sod ground into production, and I asked them, you know, are you going to moldboard plow it? Well, they've read about how horrible moldboard plowing is on ground. It can be. So it also can be the most beneficial thing you can do to soil. And I've made this statement before. You know, farming's a lot about reading your soil, doing what it likes, what the soil likes. And my soil in this area, there's nothing, I can get no other yield response comparable to any type of tillage other than moldboard plowing. My yields respond better positively to moldboard plowing than any type of tillage I can do. I've tried ripping, I've tried no-tilling, I've tried you know, other type of tillage, moldboard plowing, and there's reasons for that. So that's one reason we're going to talk a lot about moldboard plowing. There's a lot of misconceptions out there. Those misconceptions may be true for your operation, and not the same as my operation, but we're going to talk a lot about them. And one reason we're going to talk a lot about it is because if you do it incorrectly, you can do a lot of damage to a piece of ground. Or if you do it correctly, you can do a lot of good for a piece of ground. And part of doing it correctly is making sure, and I know the wind's blowing, making sure your equipment's in good repair. So we'll talk about that, because if your shires, if your wearable parts are worn too badly, you'll have trouble getting the plows into the ground, and you'll have to throw them out of adjustment to get them to go into the ground, and we'll talk a lot about that. But right now, I'm gonna get some wood in. We've got them cold gray winter skies. It looks like it's going to do some weathering. Feels like snow. They're calling for some rain and freezing rain tonight. It's not quite cold enough snow, but that's kind of where we're at. So we will I'm checking on the bull calves right quick. We will get this wood in and see what the weather does. But if you like what we're doing, like I said, there's going to be a whole series. So it looks like I'm going to need 2 landslides, and I believe all the other wearable points will get by this year on the plows, which is good, because I think I spend usually $200–300 for changing all that stuff. But if you like what we're doing, want to follow along with all that, hit that subscribe button, the little notification bell. See a video you like, give it a thumbs up, hit that little thumbs up button. If you have a question or a comment or anything along those lines, please do so. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you guys later. Goodbye.